Hey everybody, I'm Denalee Bell. Welcome to the Soapy Box. Today on our show, we have Courtney and Tyler Bell, both content creators here at the Soapy Box. We're excited today to talk to you about the end of the world or end of the world culture. We have been experiencing, as I'm sure you have, doom porn, end of the world stories, and it's affecting people. It's affecting us, and we want to talk to you about how it has affected us, our lives, and maybe how it's affecting you.
Preach.
Exactly. The news media would have you believe that these are the end of times, and we should be expecting World War III, climate crisis, financial apocalypse, you name it. It should be here within 3, 2, 1.
Like tomorrow, I think.
Yes. It's crazy. The last few years have been super crazy for me. With COVID, I think was the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. And then we had riots. Mm-hmm. Now we're in wars. Mm-hmm. It's continuing. Feels like we're always upping the ante. And if there isn't a current crisis, it seems like the news media is manufacturing one. I don't know if you guys saw CNN during COVID, as COVID was starting to wind down and their ratings got down, they got caught talking about how they were going to promote the climate crisis, which makes you wonder how much of the climate crisis is real. Well, I do believe we need to be good stewards of the earth and take care of it. I had a sustainable company. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take care of things. I just don't know how real the climate crisis is since it's been going on since I was a child. We were going to freeze to death, and then we were not going to be able to breathe because the ozone layer was gone, and then we were going to roast to death, and then none of those worked. What I did notice, however, was all of the climate crises always evolved and revolved around Congress getting funding.
Weird.
It is interesting. and so there's money. There's a lot of money in climate crisis.
Makes you think about Maui in Ohio, huh?
It does, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Oh, I didn't even think of those when I was thinking of all the issues and calamities. Well, and there are some definite signs that things are not going right. Mm-hmm. But how are we letting those affect us? How are we living our life? Because we're going to die, no matter how we look at it. But how do we want to spend this time we have here? How is society spending time? How are you and I spending time?
What's the reality versus what we want for ourselves?
Yeah. And does the reality even matter?
I'm talking about reality of how we're spending our time.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And it kind of makes me, this is something we're going to talk about. What is the best outcome? Do you want to put your head in the sand? Or do you want to know every last detail? Or is there somewhere in the middle that makes sense?
I don't want to live in fear. That's what I know. I mean,
I don't want to.
I think there's nuance. I think it's nuanced.
I think so too. And so that's what we're going to really talk about is that question of what makes sense for you. I mean, I think each of us has a story that we want to share of how our life has been disrupted by this and how we have hurt ourselves, our family, our friends, our relationships in some way these last few years. And I was talking to my mom this morning, telling her about the podcast we were going to do. And she did also feel like this is crazy. These times are crazy. She's 74, 73. Sorry, Mom.
Keep her young.
But she, in fact, feels like these are crazy times. And I was telling her about the meme you sent me. You'll have to show it to these guys.
Yeah, I'll put it up right now.
All right. Cute, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
It is interesting. So
Nicole sent me that. It was I lost it when I first saw it. It was a good one, huh?
It was good. And it's clearly defining our times, right? And some of this is biblical, but there is one thing for sure. This is the direction we're going.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm just going to start with my story about what got us interested in doing this podcast. And then maybe you guys want to share yours.
Yeah, of course.
So during COVID, I took it really seriously because we have kids with asthma. We have, my niece was living with me.
I just left home.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And there's autoimmune issues in my family. So we took it seriously. I was a crazy person. I was bleaching shoes as you came in the door. I was like,
I didn't realize you were one of those.
I was totally crazy about it. And when they said 2 weeks, I'm like, I'm all in. I will give up whatever I need to for 2 weeks. That's fair. Well, as we all remember, 2 weeks turned into way more. And it felt like the people in power who got power wanted more and more and more. And it seemed like something wasn't right. And then the next thing that I noticed wasn't right, because I was glued to the news, because my business shut down, my life shut down, my church shut down, all of everything did. And my husband didn't go through this, but his life didn't really shut down. His business kept going. His social life, he fishes.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed for him.
He kept on keeping on.
And so
he just had an extra couple of talking points, probably.
Yes. And he didn't really feel or notice what I was feeling.
Yeah.
But he wasn't glued to the TV and to the media like I was. So I saw President Trump, who I didn't really care for at the time, give an address during COVID. And I thought I didn't like him. And at that time, I was just a headline reader to get my news. Okay, this is what's going on. I know the headlines, that's fine. But I watched the whole press briefing, and he wasn't a complete idiot.
Did anyone like him, judging by the headlines, though?
No.
Or the tweets?
I mean, my husband did.
Him and me both. All right.
But
we were on an island together.
Yes. But I watched the whole press briefing. I thought, oh, he's not that bad. And then the next day I woke up, and I was a New York Times subscriber, just so you know who I was at this time.
Again, you were one of those.
And I saw their coverage of his press event. And it was literally lie after lie after lie after lie. And then I started to question, because I had time, because I had a sustainable business where we manufactured clothing. And we sold to boutiques who sold sustainable clothing.
I remember you telling me
They
this.
shut down. Yeah. They were shut down. They were out of business quickly. And so I was shut down. And we didn't really sell directly to consumer.
Delete.
Yeah. And I was even nervous to sell directly to consumer, because I'm like, what if something's in my house and I give it to them?
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little nutty.
Yeah.
So I saw all this craziness start to unfold. And then I saw these lies. And then I found more lies. And then I found additional lies. And I got mad.
Yeah.
And I got angry. And I felt like I'd been duped.
Well, you had been lied to.
Yes.
It was personal.
And I had lied to other people because I didn't know better. And so I felt duped, and I went scorched earth.
Yeah.
I went scorched earth trying to...
You're good at that.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
trying to fix what I had done.
It's like the Hulk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, yes.
Propaganda Hulk.
I don't like
I've only known you for a year now, and I've seen it.
Sorry. So I did go a little scorched earth and finding information and raw video and raw statistics, because I had nothing else to do. And
in my free time, I enjoy.
In my free time, 12 hours a day, I'd be in my house coat by the time my husband got home from work, and he'd look at me with my hair sticking everywhere and go,
It's that meme.
What did I do? Who am I married to?
Yeah.
And I drank a lot. I was drinking almost
Who didn't over COVID?
every night. I was drinking 2 or 3 glasses of wine a night, which is a lot for me.
Yeah.
Like regularly. And I became this really hateful, bitter person, because not only was I mad because I was duped, I was angry at the people who did it. And I was angry at the people who was supporting the lies.
It's only natural.
Yes. And then there was like kind of this evolution of who knows who's lying.
We still don't know.
We still don't know.
But
it really affected my life, my happiness. I turned into kind of a hateful person, and that's not my nature.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an empathetic, loving person, and I wasn't. And I was hard to be around, and nobody wanted to talk to me. I mean, nobody. Except for my friends on
either
Twitter.
the alcohol helped or hurt.
Yes.
We don't know.
Or you're spouting negativity and hate.
I was, because who wants to be around hate and negativity all the time? Especially
Not
like
your husband.
He didn't. And he's like, he wasn't around it all day. So to come home to that was probably super fun.
I don't even want to come home anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit in the driveway for about 10 minutes before I walk.
Got some texts to send.
And then I took a month off of everything, social media. I rented a place at the lake, and I turned everything off, and my life changed.
Vacation.
My life changed. But it's interesting what I look back and reflect on, and how I affected myself, how I affected me and those around me with scaring them with things that never happened. And I think that's the problem here. There's things that just never happened.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And I was just watching this video recently. They did a study. This expert did this entire study over 20 years. And it was gauging how many times the experts got it right. A child picking randomly got it as right as the experts over 20 years.
It's awesome.
I believe it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, what have they gotten wrong that you guys have noticed?
What have they gotten right? Is my bigger question.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. I mean, COVID turned out to be not quite what we thought. I saw Chinese people dying in the street in defense of my craziness. Like, they were just dropping dead, but was that even real? Mm-hmm. We don't know, because we didn't do that here. I didn't see that anyone just like walking down the street and just dying. Did you guys?
I mean, no.
I didn't catch that. To answer the question, no. Not on my street.
I don't know. I feel like I always see like, Christ is coming back. Christ is coming back.
Yeah.
And just, I'm like, how long have we been saying this, man? How long do I have to like think about or see all these comments saying, do I have to pay taxes this year? Do I have to pay my rent this month? Like, so, come on, like, what's happening?
Am I exempt?
I want to be a mom. I want to be a dad, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
So you guys are seeing people your age being held back from doing what they want to do in life.
Because it's like, why even try?
Exactly.
You know?
That, and I think a lot of people are, putting their lives on hold, saying, I don't want to have kids yet. I'm not ready financially. I'm not ready emotionally. Wherever they are in life, career-wise, relationship-wise, it's like, I guess I'm an example. I don't want to buy a house yet because who knows where the market's going to go next year, next month. It's just all questions. And it's not all bad. It's good to have some uncertainty to keep us on our feet. I think that's healthy. But with, when it comes to COVID, where a lot of it began, we have 2 months ago, we had rumors of COVID coming back. And it's like, it's lingering. It's going to be here again.
I got a good one. It was like, everybody's like, middle of September is when we're going to have to start wearing masks again. That one didn't come true at all.
No. So
there's a new strain.
Did you guys get some anxiety when people started saying like that? Like a memory, like a little PTSD?
I was just kind of like, this is stupid.
That you were going to
I kind of rolled my eyes at that point.
Yeah,
it was like, because at this point, I know my opinion, it's all fake, but not to say COVID's fake, but just the media and what they portrayed with a picture that they built up. I wasn't scared, but it was like, oh, here we go again. Like, what an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Now I can't go to the grocery store without a mask.
Yeah. I didn't feel as
Let's
gullible. I didn't feel as like gullible. And I was kind of like, all right, this is stupid. Like,
have you guys ever been taken in like I was by the media?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to share your story?
Yeah, just recently with the whole Palestine, Israel stuff. And like the day of jihad thing that they talked about really got me because I was seeing like a lot of like the single military age men cross the borders, and a whole bunch of that propaganda probably came up around that specific time to scare people. So I remember calling you guys, you and Dad, when Trevor was home, and I was like panicking, like I was shaking because I was like, it's about to happen tomorrow, and I need to be able to protect myself. And I got all like this music aspirations I want to do, and it's all screwed. Like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? So I bought a gun, bought a shotgun.
Did that make you feel better?
A little bit, yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
So you felt protected?
Yeah.
So
it was a blessing in disguise. Everyone needs a gun.
Yeah. I know. I've always wanted one. I just kind of prolonged it, and this motivated me. So,
have you ever been taken in? Is there any?
I would bring it back to COVID, 2020, early 2020, and there was the 2 week, maybe month of fear, anxiety, whatever. I think that's standard for most people. My experience was more so watching everyone else getting taken by the fear and the anxiety and the use of the world. And it was like, I don't want to be that. No. I kind of saw what I didn't want. It was like, well, I'm not going to live like that. Whether I have another month or year or 50 years on this earth, I'm not willing to sacrifice the quality of my life and the amount of time I have left living in fear. Yeah.
Wisdom.
I feel like it's hard because I feel like it sneaks up on you. And I feel like sometimes you don't really have as much control as you think. over that.
Well,
That's why I turn off the
Yeah.
news. It's like you just
Boundaries.
take
Yeah.
the remote. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
that conscious decision of, I can't watch this anymore. I can't be exposed. You know, you asked me where my news source is today. It's Instagram. And
Yeah,
I mean, do
literally.
I take it seriously? Yes, I know what's going on in the world. I'm informed, but do I turn on
Is it worth
Fox News or CNN anymore? No.
no.
Like, it's
I
not
don't
worth
watch
it.
network
Yeah.
news ever.
My sanity and mental health is so much more important than even my awareness of what's going on.
I think there's a lot of reasons why so much fear is created. I think fear sells. I think
sure.
fear is the best marketing mechanism. People say sex sells, but I think sex grabs attention and
Yeah.
fear sells. Fear motivates people, fear of loss, fear of getting lost in the crowd, fear of not being within the crowd.
Fear of missing out.
Yep. There's that, all of that fear is what motivates people. And I think that's why we're seeing
paralyzes.
so much of
fight or flight?
fear. Exactly. So much fear-based clickbait
Yeah.
on all of the channels. I mean, YouTube, TikTok, CNN, I don't care what you watch. I don't think you can miss it.
Well, it's the theme of the narrative, I would argue. And look how much money has come from that.
Yes, I think they found a great new way to divide us. And the constant division is key for their pocketbooks.
Sure.
And that's my concern is who's profiting from this? I mean, it's everyone. It's
Everyone.
a whole entire economy. If you think about it, who do you think's profiting from it?
The gun companies, for
Yeah.
one. The
Yeah.
Cabela's,
Yeah, Cabela, yep.
The survival disaster preparedness people,
the news channels, the
books.
bloggers, lifestyle influencers, everyone on social media,
Military contractors.
churches.
Churches. Okay.
I said it.
So
That's a good one, yeah.
it's a good
A
one.
churchgoer said it.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive
dig deep.
in. So this is an interesting one to me because, you know, a lot of the churches are putting a lot of information out there, end of times. We are seeing some biblical prophecy happening real time.
Sure. Yep.
What I find interesting about it, and you actually said this the other day, so I'm stealing it, is it's not like they're just putting it out there like to educate us. It's constant. There's some people, because I see them on my feed, this is constant. It's like a new way of clicks because they're monetized too.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And why
That's their sermon every day.
Yes. How can that be? How can that be eschatology is your daily sermon?
And I don't
Dude.
want to say they take advantage of the current events going on, but with Israel and everything going on there,
Yes.
it's like, look how many pastors or, you know, big names have come out since then saying, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. We got to talk about what's going on.
And
Is this leading to what we all know it's leading to? And eventually, yes, I think we can agree.
I think we can say that, and that's good.
We know what the Bible says.
Exactly. There's
Well, you know, like rumors of wars or whatever, right? It means of things that are soon to come. Not now, soon to come.
Yeah.
Right?
So-
Yeah.
So
well, we're in wars, so we're here.
it's rumors of wars here, though. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you look at the signs, they're accurate, but look at the timeline of the Bible and look at the time.
Yeah.
Like we always talk about the difference of time down here on earth and in heaven. Isn't it 1,000 years difference? Or
Oh, yeah, it's
one
like
day
1,000,
here
yeah.
is
Could be
1,000
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
I could be getting that wrong, or mixed up. But it's like, so just because we read something in scripture doesn't mean it's happening tomorrow or this
Yeah.
year. It's like
Well-
it could be another 10,000
100,
years.
200 years. Yeah.
Can you imagine if you were alive during Nero persecuting Christian, hanging him, burning him at a stake? You would think that was the end of times.
Sure.
Well, it's birth pangs, right? So
It
it's
is.
like it's contractions.
That's
So it's
absolutely.
moments
Yep.
that come in and slow down and in and slow down, and it gets faster and faster. Is it really getting faster, or is it propaganda that we're seeing?
Exactly.
That's what builds suspense. It's like
Because
a
you can
beating
s-
heartbeat.
You could probably read into any situation. I'm sure during Hitler's time, people thought the end of the world was coming. How could you not?
Yeah. I was actually just listening to a podcast yesterday on this exact thing. And it was, you know, they looked at all the different eras over the past century. And it was like the 20s, like with the Great Depression, they thought it was the end of the world then. With Hitler, they thought it was the end of the world then. And it's like, not to say history always repeats itself, but it rhymes. There are patterns.
There are.
And
Yes.
it can be, a lot of it can be predicted.
100 years ago was the Great Depression. Looks like we're about to head into that.
Yep, here we are with our doom horn.
Who knows what the 30s?
Watching the clock here.
Let's see the 30s and 40s, huh?
I mean, so I watch a lot of financial information because, for our family investments and trying to figure out where we want to put money and time and energy is important because we do want to leave something for our children. We want to leave something for your children.
Yeah,
Hey,
legacy.
you know
Yeah.
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 I wanted a kid, right?
Yes. And so these things are important to us, and not squandering and not investing wisely are not really part of my plan.
Yeah.
But it's been really hard, given the financial news, to invest wisely. It's really hard to find a hedge against an inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation's insane. But so where do you go to find information? Well, the same places. And
Not
so
Google.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
it's paralyzing.
Yeah.
It's paralyzing to move forward with anything. It's paralyzing to even do this. Sometimes you're like, should we be doing this? This is
Well, let me ask you this too, and it's not just the how to save or what you're doing, but is your attitude changing with you don't know how long you have left in this life, this world. So are you more, I don't know, short-lived or short-term minded?
I'm probably a high risk person at heart. But
Me too. That's where I get it from.
Like mother, like son?
My money's in assets.
yes, I actually feel like more of my money should be in assets than cash.
Sure.
But I don't feel safe putting it in any asset
No.
right now because who knows? Like
I don't feel safe putting my money in the bank right now.
Yes, exactly. So
I have a nightstand drawer.
and is this a reality or is this based on the information we're receiving? But the information I'm receiving is actually, I feel, pretty accurate. It's good data on jobs. It's good data on what the current inflation is.
Sure.
It's good information on the upcoming foreclosures. So, I've been through this 2008, 2009, where we lost everything. And so we've had to rebuild it's like we were 19 again.
This isn't your first rodeo.
Yes. And I don't want to do that again, but
You have the experience and
Yeah.
you know how to react if that comes to it.
I do. I don't know that we could be possibly even prepared for what could possibly be coming.
Yeah.
Because that was just one sector. I think the current landscape is affecting many sectors.
Sure.
And so while I would like to sometimes bury my head in the sand and pretend it's not happening, I still have to be responsible to my family, which makes it difficult in
Yeah.
making these decisions, and also difficult to not have this information constantly in my head.
Yeah.
Depends on the focus, though, right? Like you're speaking financially. You know what I mean?
Well, the financial apocalyptic, what's that word?
Oh,
Epileptic.
yep. That's the one.
Is it epileptic?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I just guessed.
I don't even know how to pronounce spaghetti. So
Oh, yeah. Me too. I've been saying Piscetti lately. I've never
big
done that
kid.
my whole life, but developed dyslexia apparently. So
So these
I didn't know you were so weird.
you might want to take out the dyslexia thing.
yeah, whatever.
So anyway, just because we don't want to hurt people's feelings.
I mean, I literally said liberals on the last podcast.
That's
Yeah.
all right. You're good. People love you for it.
You're going to get more death threats for that one than
Than anything.
dyslexia. Actually, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm apparently going to be an ableist now. So
Yeah, the world's ending.
So the financial apocalypse is also happening, right? So it just depends on what your feed is. You could have, between me and your dad, there's 3 different feeds we get because we share feeds. Plus I see my feed and his feed. He has the financial apocalypse coming. I've got the biblical apocalypse coming. And probably my Twitter feed is the current war, that's happening.
What do you get
in
when
Palestine.
you merge them? All the above.
We get like me standing with my hair like this,
you
going,
get 4 cups of
Yeah.
coffee in the
Yeah.
morning, yelling at
Rerun.
each other.
Yeah. Yes. So we do try limit it because it is, it's been an
it can
issue.
be a lot. Yeah.
And I can feel in my body when I've taken in too much. And I can feel it in my mind.
Well,
Your
it's
son can
physical
tell, too.
stress.
Everyone can see it. I'm like, oh, mom's been on Twitter.
Dark under eye circles.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I got those. Anyway,
The meme.
I wasn't calling you
Yes.
out.
that's funny. so many people are profiting from it, but why do you think people engage in it? Why do you think you engaged in it in the past?
Because you buy into it.
Dopamine.
It's what you get from it. It's adrenaline. It's a momentum. It's not everyone is after being fearful and living in that anxiety, but I think a lot of people don't have a choice when they're glued to the news. They're taking in what they're watching and what they're hearing and what they're seeing, and it's like they can't turn it off. You get sucked in.
Well, with the Israel-Hamas thing, I did get sucked in again because I saw on October 7th the Hamas videos that were released. Yeah. You can't unsee that. You can't unsee some of it. And so
when you start applying it to your life, it becomes like a victimhood dopamine complex, which is weird, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because you think, how can this happen in the world we live in?
Yeah.
In a civilized society, how does this happen? And then the next step that I couldn't believe, and that I'm still obsessed with, to be honest, is the anti-Semitic things happening in the U.S. That I am.
y'all don't remember you canceled Kanye just a minute ago for this?
Kanye just got canceled
yesterday,
and suddenly now it's all acceptable for the left to be anti-Semites.
But that's what I mean. It's a narrative. It's whatever they write.
It's fascinating
tomorrow. It
to
could
me.
be a completely different story, but today it's this, and
there seems to be a certain group following whatever the narrative is and promoting it, which is fascinating to me.
It's like a fan club. They have their groupies.
And this is who I think it
ideology.
is. So what I'm seeing on Twitter is it's these far right and these far left extremists. I would say on both sides. Yep. And what I do love, and I hate that this is happening to Jewish people. I mean, seriously, they're getting abused here. Like one just got hit over the head with a chair at an event. They chased him down.
You've seen more than I
will
allow myself.
It's unbelievable what's happening, even here in the U.S.
I hop on Twitter for 5 seconds and I'm seeing like a baby bludgeoned.
That's
horrible.
why
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Undownloaded, took off my Twitter.
Uninstalled.
So I'm really upset by it. Because I can't believe it's happening here in the U.S. I really can't, because of the culture. But what I was happy to see, like on my social media feed, because I have a lot of people on both sides on my social media, because I did have a sustainable company, and I wouldn't say newly conservative. I've probably always had conservative traditional values, but I don't know. I would have thought that I was kind of probably a middle of the road person before all this.
Yeah.
And I am starting to see that that's becoming normal again. The right and the left are coming, like the middle of the road people are coming together and going, this is wrong. And you have your right extremists and your left extremists fighting for, I don't know, the right to be horrible to Jewish people.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think people get involved in cults, right? Like people need to worship something.
Yes.
And people worship ideology, I think.
Well, when they don't have God, they latch onto
Yeah.
anything else they see.
Yep, exactly.
So they want to fit in and they want to belong somewhere. And this is what they've chosen.
People need a label. People need a category. People need
identity.
Yes. They need a tribe. And I think that's half of it. It's like, oh, I belong to the conservatives. I belong to the...
Yes. And I don't know that
Instead
I want
of the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm on that
We're all
tribe.
one.
I'm in that tribe. So have either of you experienced any psychological effects? Like I was talking about, I had this weird anger, this hatred. I was depressed. I was irritable. I'm trying to think of all the other things I was feeling. Anxiety. I really had anxiety I got to the point where I didn't want to leave my house.
Yeah.
I had anxiety about leaving my house because I'd been in the house for so long, like a year.
Do you think at that point it was almost social anxiety? Like,
Well,
how do I interact with people?
I mean, yes. And this starts my conspiracy theory is that, they want us like this because this is debilitating.
that's the goal.
Yes.
They are putting us where they want us.
And
Isolation, not in communication
Yeah.
with each other,
Yes.
not in relationship, community.
And why?
Destruction of
Because
community
they
and
know
family.
it's effective. They look at what's happened in just the past 3-4 years. I mean,
And how do we combat that?
it's control. It's very, I guess it's simple math to me, outside looking in, but they're power hungry.
Who's they?
Media,
Illuminati.
Yes. Big
Satan
names.
worshiping. Turn into Alex Jones.
But I think that's a question. Who is it? Who
I
is
do
they?
think there are some organized efforts that
Satan
you
worshiping
can't
elites.
ignore. So if I look at the BLM, which was interesting.
Oh, don't get me started.
Well, the BLM was interesting, right? Like,
Oh, we're going there.
well, we are.
Interesting's a loose term.
It was
but
an
yeah.
interesting organization, and
Started
they recently.
by white men.
Oh, was it?
Really?
Oh, I didn't know. That
wow.
makes sense, though. And they turned out, the people running that turned out to be fraudsters who were siphoning money and doing horrible things. And it wasn't really about Black people for the organization. I understand the sentiment is different than the organization. Let's just get that clear. Okay. I get that there are Black people who've been victimized from racism, there's a lot of unfairness there.
fair.
I'm not saying that, but I am saying that the organization was corrupt and found to be corrupt. And it seems like the Antifa BLM people have now suddenly just turned into pro-Palestine people.
Yeah.
They are the same people.
They're looking for the protest, the
Switch?
rage.
Yes.
They're looking for whatever avenue they can
And
express themselves.
And
They're
in the,
passionate about their opinions.
Yep.
it's interesting.
Hear me roar.
Are they passionate about their opinions? Because the city of New York was paying them to protest.
Or do they need to be
Oh,
heard
wow.
and
Yes.
make money?
Didn't know that.
Yes. And who was paying them before? Because there was some money being tracked last time. That I don't know if everyone was being paid, but I think if you get a few loud people to get paid, can garner some attention, and people might be part of it.
Imagine like the U.S. Like a whole year without like the bullcrap. I mean, I wonder how awesome it would be.
wait,
here, you know what
I'd actually want to live here
Is that
again.
Yeah, I know,
1985?
It would actually be the greatest America there was. You know what I mean?
That would be awesome.
Is this scriptural?
Yeah, right? Please.
That would be nice to go back to those simpler times. But then that brings me to the next fear-driven information that is real. All of this is really happening,
Yeah.
right? We are having riots.
So they say.
And well, there's an election year, right? And they
Yep.
say anything that crazy happens in an election year is because of the election year. Here we go again.
Yep.
And now we're getting things amped up. So I'm like, I do have to wonder what's real and what isn't.
And there comes a point where can we be surprised at a lot of what's going on?
I cannot be.
People are numb.
You could not surprise
And I'm
me
not
about the
even
level of
referring to the
corruption of our
Bible here,
government.
but it's just
no.
It's either numbness or digging your head in the sand. I feel
It's like first Biden was elected. Like that was out of left field to begin with.
Yeah.
That happened. How crazy or how much crazier can we get?
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys think it's possible?
The
he
result
I don't
of
want to.
what
I
you
don't want
did.
the answer. I don't.
don't tell us the answer.
Rhetorical question.
I think that there was a visceral response to Donald Trump. And people didn't understand that he was probably the biggest liberal in the world. Like, I mean, I think the parts that I liked about him was probably that liberal side of me, of his policies.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Businessman.
yes, he is definitely not a conservative. But I don't know why the liberals hate him so much, because if they look at his policies and all the things he did, he's definitely a liberal. So I don't quite understand why they hate him besides his mean tweets.
And that could be something else that they made a decision to come together and stick together. And, I'm not sure.
I would say he seems to be anti-establishment.
I know
And
a lot of it was.
He can't be controlled like it seems the rest of Congress can. Doesn't it seem like as soon as somebody gets uncontrollable in Congress, they're gone?
They're out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Well, and that's what
You
it
can't
brings me back
yeah.
to the control issue.
Yes.
He can't be our puppet. Trump can't. He's
It
not a
feels like
puppet.
they're all. It's
Or it's
one
all,
team,
Yeah.
them against us. It doesn't really feel like they represent us anymore.
But again, who's them? Is it
Our
government?
government does not represent us. I don't believe.
No,
Do you guys?
No.
Did you ever think they did?
I never really paid attention to that until recently
Yeah,
in my life.
same,
So, yeah.
same.
So interesting. When I was your age, this wouldn't even
Yeah, didn't matter.
there was no way I would even be having a conversation like this at your age. I wouldn't have even known because there was we had Y2K where we thought, all the electricity was going to go out. It was a big deal for a day.
And it was until the world didn't end.
Oh no, we can't use our ATM cards. And that was going to be a big deal.
But
so
it
we all
wasn't
got a little
relevant.
extra water and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like It was like the day before you went shopping for some extra water, just in case something weird happened. But it wasn't this
stocking your pantry and
Dude.
yes, it wasn't this constant. Okay, AI's coming. There's not going to be any jobs. Okay, the real estate market's going to collapse. You're not going to be able to, buy a home or maybe wait to buy a home. But then you're not going to have any money because there's going to be a run on banks.
Jesus Christ is coming. We don't know if it's pre or post tribulation.
Yes, and I have an argument for post, pre, and mid.
Yep, exactly.
Amen.
Amen.
Because I'm on YouTube.
I love you too.
Just joking.
Details of theology. Surprise, none of it matters.
Yep.
What I notice for me, it's a shift in priorities. All of this doom porn brings to me. And I find I'm having really a lot of trouble with long-term planning, and it's more short-term planning. Like, okay, where do I do this? How do I put my money to work here? And to do anything even like for a year freaks me out.
Yeah.
And that's how investments work. They work over time. And so it's frightening to me. It's frightening to me.
That's why I'm just spending all my
Well,
money
and as
on
a
audio
31-year-old,
equipment.
I'm like,
screw
I
it,
haven't
man.
bought a house yet. Like, should I? Will I ever? I don't know.
All my
we'll
money is
see.
going to my home recording studio.
So you're not doing, neither of you doing any long-range planning?
It's not that I'm not doing any. It's that...
Does it stop you? Do you consider all of the information that we're consuming?
I take all the things, put them in consideration, and it's not that it's not that I don't have a 401k because there are rumors or there's biblical signs of everything's leading to the end of the world. I mean, again, that could be another 100,000, 10,000
Or it
years
could be
down the
next
road.
week.
Or it
I
could
feel
be
like it's
next
like
week.
less of a priority
Yes.
for me. Like, I'd rather, just for,
I'm not
where
my,
I'm at in
I'm not my
my
father.
life. Yeah.
It's like my dad was, you better have 60 years worth of savings in the bank.
Put
or
everything in your Roth IRA
you're
that
in
you can,
trouble.
and then-
Yeah. And it's like,
Save 50% of everything you make.
Yep.
wouldn't that be nice? I need to make more.
Okay, I hear you.
It's a generational difference. I think too, it's, we also live in a world, and this is going to go on a completely different tangent, but we live in a world that you can have 13 different careers
Yeah.
in the same lifetime. And my parents came from, you get your degree, you stick with the same job as long as you can, and you save as much money
Older
and put
America.
it in the bank. Yeah.
Well, we don't live in
It's all
that
for
America
retirement.
because companies go out of business. They don't even stay in business for 50 to 100 years anymore. There's cycles that are moving faster, and that's part of the problem with, I think, our world is how fast we're moving.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we can't keep up.
This is not financial advice, but I've been hearing a lot of people say invest in assets. So I think like find a hobby of something like you like that is asset. So like, I don't know, like Rolex watches or something like that. You know what I mean? For me, it's audio gear because it holds its value well. But I don't know, stuff like that.
Yes, I think I hear lots of gold and silver. I'm a huge gold and silver fan. You'll see even in that's one of our sponsors is gold. I'm a huge fan because it's useful and it will hold its value.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put everything there.
Well, it's a different approach
Diversify.
to
Yes.
cash, though.
It
and that
is.
brings us to,
Banks.
is cash, when
Is
is
cash king anymore?
leaving the
Yes.
equation? Because I think it's inevitable. It will, it
And
will be
that worries me.
depleted
That's
soon.
another story is when cash leaves us, so is the complete tracking. So mom and pop have a yard sale. They can't do it in cash.
Yeah.
You can't.
Here, give me your wrist.
Yes.
I'll scan
Tax you
you.
on everything.
So
Yep.
again, we're getting nearer and nearer to biblical prophecy, which
But see, it hasn't happened yet. It's soon to come, and who knows how long that's going to take for that to happen. I think people focus too much on like, it's happening right now, and here's all these different prophecies, but it's not like what hasn't actually come true yet. Like what's still coming that we haven't really
There's a
seen.
whole checklist.
There's a
There's
huge amount of prophecy
long
that
list.
is
there's a
still leading
huge
up.
amount checked.
Yeah, there's a bit check.
There's a bit checked.
I don't know. Yeah, how much? How much do you think? Like a
Should we
percentage?
do a whole podcast on that?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, that would be interesting.
Leave
Yeah.
a comment if you would like a podcast on that. Yeah.
Yes, please do. And please, let's just take a minute. Could you guys please like and subscribe if you like our content? It helps us bring more content like this to you. Or even if you don't like it, could you please like and subscribe?
We won't talk about the end of the world all the
Support
time.
us if you don't want to support us.
Just joking. So I think what we've discovered here just in this conversation is there's an endless supply of doom and gloom. We didn't even get to talk about the rise of AI.
Yeah.
But if we put all of this together in a sandwich,
Yeah.
it's a shit sandwich.
Sounds delicious,
Right?
but not the shit part.
But it also, I mean, like, could be used for good, like AI, for example. You know what I mean? It
Yes.
could turn into something good. There's things that could turn into good.
Well, and I wonder if, like our grandparents maybe thought the internet was Satan.
yeah.
We don't know. But I do see that there's a lot of good for it, but I do see the destruction of
Yeah.
millions of jobs.
It's like,
Millions.
feels like forbidden technology from the Nephilim, but that's my conspiracy side.
But
Yeah.
is a conspiracy really
Is
a
it?
conspiracy?
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Let's just
If you
be
dig
honest
deep,
here.
yeah.
I feel like the conspiracy theorists got more right than the experts in the last few years, which
Yeah.
is bothersome.
I'm a truth believer, so people call me a conspiracy theorist, and I'm like,
Well, I think if you believe in Jesus, they call us names. So
Yeah.
you're a Christian?
You believe in a fairy tale. Shut up.
we get that maybe you don't get it or you don't come from this perspective, but love me anyway. Just be kind anyway.
I do. She's pretty great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I guess what we want to talk about is how we deal with it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happened to me to kind of change my thinking of staying here where I could laugh about this with you and not be angry anymore. God really dealt with me. He really dealt with me because he didn't create me to be hateful, angry, depressed,
Or
and have
fearful.
anxiety or live in fear. He did not create that woman or me. And I've never been that. Have you known me to be that person until the last couple of years? No.
He's like, only 2020.
I have, there's a mark in time.
You are a passionate woman, but 2020 is the start
was
of it.
your era.
When I moved away, really.
Well, I was also afraid because you moved away.
Yeah.
And
So that's why you moved away.
And I got asthma and COVID's yeah.
yeah. Well, COVID had started and he had
it's a
just
lung
moved
thing.
out on his own in the middle in Arizona in Scottsdale and didn't know anyone.
He's a free man.
Yeah.
And he didn't know anyone. And he
And
was
COVID's
alone.
like a lung thing, and I have severe asthma and like all
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Isolate. Stay in.
I know.
yeah, we told him to.
I liked it though, you know.
He loved it. He did all his
loved it.
music. So anyway, but the idea is like, right, we need to figure out how do we deal with this so we don't live here in this fear and we can laugh about it. And God dealt with me, like I just said, and really told me what?
No, God worked on me, and I was like, he got you on his finger. He's like working on it.
He's like, what's on the couch?
There was a time where I quit thinking that I could control it by yelling at people on Twitter because it had no effect. Because
I
nobody
miss you.
cared.
I'm not friends with you on there.
I'm not there anymore. But okay, that's a lie.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a lie.
We're all imperfect Christians.
So, but arguing with people on Twitter and trying to make them see the truth, it didn't matter because I could post the actual information and they didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
I could share God with them and they didn't want to hear it.
You can shoot as many intellectual bullets as you want at people, but like it doesn't change hearts.
They don't have
It
to
doesn't.
receive it.
They don't have to receive
And
it.
they
And
don't want
most
to.
people are not.
They're not there to
They
receive
don't
it.
have the humility to like, oh, is this person actually correct? You know what I mean? Like I get this way with people about salvation. Not anymore because I just given it up. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? But like,
Well, you haven't given up guiding
give up.
people.
oh no. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I'll call it out, but
Keep
I'm not gonna
planting the
like
seeds.
linger
Yeah.
on it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not gonna like shoot
You can't force it.
Bible verses back
Yeah.
and forth. You know what I mean? Because that's like it's not doing anything. You know what I mean? It's not. You're not gonna understand it because you are looking at it like a child. You're looking at it with wisdom, intellect. You know?
Exactly.
But prayer goes a long way. And
Yeah.
he
It
can
does.
change hearts. We
Exactly.
can't change hearts.
Exactly. We can plant seeds.
Well, Twitter's like Fight Club
Yep.
for the devil. I think the devil is running Twitter and it's Fight Club and you
Yeah,
have,
Elon
and it's
Musk.
very political. You have the right and you left.
Yep.
And you have to pick a side and you can't even deviate or they get mad at you. And everyone wants the same thing, which is fascinating. They just disagree on how to get it.
Yeah.
And both sides think the other is ruining the world.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. And I think when he showed me this, and I'm like, well, and I was praying, like, how do we heal this? And God said, it starts with you. You got to heal you first. You got to heal your heart, your hate, your bitterness, your unforgiveness.
It starts in here.
Yep. It starts with just one person. It starts with just me and you and you and you. I still look like Oprah. And you and you
Not to point fingers, but
and you.
The man in the mirror.
Yes.
Turned to Michael Jackson too.
But it starts with me because we have an effect on the people in our lives. We have an effect on people who come within 5 feet of us. And he just kind of gave me this vision of this ripple effect.
Yeah.
That if I'm healed, I get to help other people get healed.
He gets to work through you.
And that means by getting healed, I mean spending time with God and having him remove that hate and bitterness from my heart, because it's not like this work you do where you have to go to counseling for 24 hours, though I have done counseling. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. But it's this transformation that he did in my heart when I would seek him and spend time with him rather than in the devil's playground of social media. Amen. Where nothing good really happens.
Right.
Because we all seek out the information we want.
Yep.
So we're not helping change anyone's mind.
Well, and it's deeper than mental transformation too. It's even, what is it? The mind and the soul, it's the spirit. It is not surface level.
It's not your heart, it's not your intellect.
Deep. It's not even the heart.
Yeah.
Spiritual stuff is, there's a lot of growth to be had, but a lot of people haven't experienced that growth. And God can do that. God can change that.
And I'm still growing, right? He's moving me glory to glory, because I used to think, okay, I got this figured out, God, because I'm still working through that healing process. And thank God he doesn't do it all at once. It'd probably kill me. And I was getting really frustrated. I'm like, God, this feels like whack-a-mole. We get through one thing and then there's another. And he said, no, girl, I'm moving you glory to glory. And it was just such a beautiful way to look at it.
It's a season. I mean, in his perfect timing, I always say, he'll let you know when you need to know, but he'll change you when you need to be changed.
Yes.
He also ripens you, and it's a process of, it's not going to happen overnight.
It's not. And I have moments where, like during this whole Hamas-Israel thing, where I backslid back into it, because I have to tell you, I'm outraged by all of it. I am outraged. I am just outraged that people think it's okay just to hate somebody because of who they are and as a race. It's
how can it not make
outrageous
you
to
sick
me.
to your stomach?
Yes.
It's disgusting.
It is. And I get that in my head, I thought there's a few nut jobs out there who were like this. I really did. No, like before this.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a few because honestly, because maybe how Kanye got treated when he said the things he said, which I don't know.
And you don't see the other side of the world like that. No. You know what I mean? You're not.
No, I had
a view of the ideologies that are being spread for kids at 7 years old.
Right.
For Hamas, you know what I mean?
It's a culture that is so different from ours.
Absolutely.
And I will say this, I saw videos on both sides where they're teaching a little bit of hate, which did open my eyes to how much propaganda is what I'm getting. I mean, I will say I did watch the early Hamas videos, so that directly that they were bragging and gloating about what they're doing. So I'm going to believe them that they were being that evil savagery. Like, I'm not going to pretend like that didn't happen. So I noticed, I slipped back into it, but I was really aware in my head that, okay, you're getting depressed, you're anxious and hateful again.
What are the results?
And then, this is like an addiction, right?
Yeah.
I likened it to that because I'm trying to hide it now from my husband.
Dopamine.
It's like regular porn.
Yeah,
it is. It's like regular porn.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like
shut the
I
laptop.
know I'm wrong and I've moved past this, but here I am again. And then he has a question, and then he knows I've been watching, because then I vomit on him when he has like one question, and I
That puts you in a spot
I know
where
way too much.
You have to lie, or you have to be honest, and then you're not proud of what you're being honest about.
Well, I just can't, because I just, you know what's happening? Because you're just in like hysterical. I was hysterical.
And he's
about
probably
it.
like me, like he knows, but he doesn't want to hear about it.
No, he didn't. No, he does now. But
Perks of having a wife.
so I have to go through that process again of who am I? Who was I created to be? And am I being that person? Because we all have purpose here on earth. And I promise you, it's not to fight with people on Twitter about who's the more evil in a war. There's children getting killed. We need to pray for all of them.
There's bigger things.
There's a lot of tools. So the things that really helped me were intercessory prayer. I prayed for the leader of Hamas and the Ayatollah.
Yeah, say that again.
And me, actually, your dad and your brother, we sat here for 30 minutes and prayed for them.
I've never prayed that long. I want to pray that long, but that's hard.
So anyway, I do deal with it actively, because it is, like I said, it somewhat feels like an addiction I'm overcoming.
Yeah.
So how do you had that experience with the Israel-Hamas deal, and the Hamas people were claiming they were going to do the holy jihad on that following Friday, where they were going to go conduct terror around the world, and it didn't happen. My one argument was, this is my conspiracy theory. Well, maybe it was thwarted. Maybe it was thwarted.
Hey, maybe. We don't know.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
so
you seem to be like, that was the end for you.
Yeah. I kind of put it down. I think like having boundaries with like the content I'm consuming, like just put it away. Like, what am I actually spending my time on? How long have I realistically been watching this and being honest with myself? I've spent maybe the first 2 hours of my morning watching this. Like, that's bad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, the day that I was really struggling was like probably 7 hours. I was down bad. And it doesn't get me like that. It really doesn't get me like
marathon.
that.
I did that.
Because I've watched her do this for like 3 years. You
Not
know?
3 years.
Whatever. Okay.
Good thing I'm on the podcast to offset you guys a little bit.
Yeah, but I watched her do it, and like it drove me nuts, and then it happened to me, and I was like, "There's no way." I mean, I know what you're talking about now, but wow, this is destructive. I mean, it really paralyzed me. I was like, "What's happening? Like, it's gonna be done tomorrow."
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, and when it didn't happen, I bought a gun. It didn't happen, and then I set boundaries, and I was like, I'm just not gonna look at this stuff. Like, I'm just gonna swipe past it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like boundaries with real porn. Like, you can't completely avoid like women on your screen,
this is
but
like
you
porn.
can scroll past it. You can flee from it, right?
Yes.
Those ads are going to pop up.
Yeah, it's like lust of fear almost. I feel like so you have to. And what does the Bible say about lust? It's flee from it. You know what I mean? Don't war against it. So.
And that's taking initiative.
Yeah.
Being reactive.
Yeah, and then focus
proactive.
on like what am I doing today? Like what is the best call of action for me to do today for God? It's not worry about what's going to happen to me or my family or my studio or what my future, blah, blah, blah. It's important about like, how can I evangelize and disciple? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you go?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
How can you fulfill his commission?
Yep.
And I think if we think about how we do that every day in our daily life, we're focused on that thing. I have a problem where I feel like you, and this is none of my business, but you kind of take the ignorance is bliss track, right?
Yeah.
And I have taken the other side where we need to know what's happening.
Yeah.
But I do think there's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. There's nuance.
Because I think we need to be aware of what's going on, or we let evil take over.
I need to be able to watch a movie with like my family that has a attractive woman in it and not freak out. Right. But like, I don't need to like dig deeper into who that woman is and blah, blah, blah. Like say it's like a lust thing, right? You know what I mean? Comparing it to lust. Cause I feel like it's very
similar.
Similar. Yeah.
There's something to be said about knowing how to deal with temptation if it's in the room, but also
it's tempting
turning
to
your eye, or
watching
turning your
it.
head.
Yeah, it's tempting to dig deeper and keep going because it's like, right, I want to be aware. I need to know what's happening so I can make smart decisions.
Right.
But when does awareness turn into a problem?
Well, self-control is a fruit, you know. It's about exercising that.
I agree.
And, you know, I guess going off the same question that you just asked him, how do I deal with it? Because my mental health is always at risk. All of ours is if we let it be. But with this whole Israel thing and everything going on in the world, it's like I look at my consumption of the news and vulnerability to the media. And the last time I really tuned in, you know, judge it or not, but it was COVID. And I saw what it did to me, and I saw what it did to others, my mom specifically, love you, my significant other at the time, my friends, and it was like, I want to know what's going on, and I will, but it's keeping distance. It's saying, yes, it affects me indirectly most of the time, you know, but I know what happens at the end, you know, spoiler alert, he wins. I know the outcome, whether that's, again, next year or in 100 years or 1,000. I'm waiting, but am I going to not enjoy my life and not pursue a family, not pursue, you know, a husband and beautiful kids because of that? No. Like, I'm still going to go after what I want here. I'm not going to live in fear. I'm not going to live in anxiety. And I know it creeps up from time to time. It's only natural, but there are ways to offset it. There's ways to kind of bring yourself down. And for me, that's just going straight to the word, going straight to God and being like, hey, I need to spend time with him because in worldly terms, he's who centers me. He grounds me. And it's like, that's my truth. That's all I need to know.
And if I'm using something else to ground me, it's kind of like I'm idolizing and worshiping it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Drink helps from time to time, but am I worshiping alcohol? No. Am I worshiping?
But if you're living
The
there, and that's how
news?
you go.
Yeah.
Is that how you go to your comfort? And it's a weird thing to think of the media or social media or the news as your comfort, but it almost becomes that, like it's this need to know.
Well, it's
a
a
source of
drug.
dopamine.
It's an addiction.
It is. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's
I
your
didn't
reward
realize
center.
that till just today. So practically, I think awareness is key. Knowing yourself and how you're responding to things, no matter what it is. It could be the doom porn. It could be real porn. It could be alcohol, whatever your situation is. Awareness of what that's doing to you and what it's taking from you is huge. Recognizing when it happens, because I feel like a backslidden alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's easy to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really thinking about how it's affecting the goals of my life, because I really shut down for a couple of years. Like I had no purpose. My classes were gone. My business was gone. I didn't even care because I thought that, well, this is it anyway. Who cares?
It's really easy to justify it to other people about like, well, I'm just being aware and being knowing what's going on and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing this?
Well, I was actually mad at people who weren't aware.
Yeah.
I was angry to other people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was angry because I'm like, you guys, we're letting this happen.
Do you not care?
Yep.
But I think, and here's my argument with that, because I still have that argument. Good people let evil happen. And I think there's things we can do to help the world. I mean, we were given dominion of this world. It's our responsibility to take care of it, not just in an environmental capacity, but also living in America. I think we have a responsibility to keep our freedom. There's a freedom that God gave us to live here, and we're losing our freedom.
Yeah.
Not stewarding it.
And we're not stewarding it. We're not standing up for it.
We'll go back to the
And we're not-
Constitution. We have rights. It's social, political. I mean, we have authority as a believer, and it can go back to the legal stuff.
And we used to be the freest country in the world. I think we're at number 20 now in terms of
didn't know that.
freedom. Wow. Yes. And so it's...
I'm officially buying a gun after this podcast.
God pours oil on obedience.
I didn't, not in fear, but...
Brings my country girl
but
out more.
This was my argument with you about
Maybe we need a
not
second.
knowing what's happening, because... So this was my fear, and we're not supposed to live in fear. But I'm just going to tell you, my fear is for my children and my future grandchildren. I want them to live in a country where they have the same opportunities that I had. And already you two don't have the same opportunities that I have.
Not at all.
You don't financially, you do not have the same opportunities that I have.
Yeah.
So we have a huge leg up just because your rent, you guys are making the same amount of money we did.
I don't want to talk
And
about
your
it.
rent and your housing payments 4 times as much.
Bills are outrageous.
And it's so...
You would be, I mean,
It
the amount
limits
of
you.
people living check to check is absurd.
Exactly. Yes. So
To be able to stack $50 a week is like a privilege.
Well, I think more people are getting to that point by the week. You know, it's just it's unattainable to even save money. It's like,
well,
after your
people are living
paycheck,
off their credit cards. This is part of the financial apocalypse.
Here we go with
People-
interest and
Yes.
credit cards. And
So you guys are not living in a world that I lived in. And for me, I would like to steward that and bring that back, because we didn't pay attention, and now I think it's went too far. The pendulum has swung too far. And I think that is the beauty of what's happening online. Our people are going, okay, this is too far. The government's overspending. They're printing money. People are starting to understand economics 101 on why we're having incredible inflation.
They're starting to be mad about the same stuff.
That's a beautiful thing, because then it's no longer us divided. It's like, okay, we're going to hold our Congress people accountable.
yeah.
So there are some good that has come from this.
And we're all in it together. The left and the right can't
Yes.
afford
Yes.
their bills.
Exactly. And
Well, it comes down to like everybody wants a better world to live in. It's just going about it differently.
exactly.
Yep.
Yes. And I think that's just it. I'm
It's
just
the
going to
same goal, same objective, but we're still fighting because the narrative was from the get-go to divide us.
Fighting over the intellectual bullets.
Well, and it's where social media makes money.
Yeah.
They've created the algorithms to divide for a reason because it works.
You know what it
works.
reminds me of? A lot of churches have, especially in America or modern day Christianity, they have differences in theology. And they're smaller details of, we all believe in the same Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Denomination, pretty much.
But it's the little stuff. And that's where the fights come from. It's like, well, you're not a real Christian, or you're not a true believer. And this is what this reminds me of. It's like, well, even though we are celebrating, worshiping the same God,
agreed on the big picture.
Do the details? Yeah. Do the details really matter?
Yeah, exactly.
It's everyone has an argument. Everyone has a reason to disagree.
And so this was the beauty of our worlds before. You and I could sit here and disagree and still have a conversation.
That's key, conversation. And we don't know
we
how
would
to have
still be
conversations.
friends. But I think there's so much hate and vitriol if we don't agree now. And
well, it's a moral battle because everybody's like, you're wrong if you don't think about this, and it becomes a bunch of people vampiring virtue off people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Agreed.
And leeching it and saying I'm a good person, and then they go flirt with their other little vampire virtues.
That's resentment. Yeah. It causes all this anger, and it's like, F you, I can't have a conversation with you. I don't respect you.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, what happened to the days where we can sit down, talk about our differences, and not just say, I'm right and you're wrong.
And I hate you because you don't think like me.
It's more about morality wins than
Yes. And I will say I have been the perpetrator of that on occasion. Yeah. Where like, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong, and I'm taking the moral high ground because I'm right.
It's easy. I've been there. It's easy to do. But when I'm right and you're wrong.
But we do need to be loving. I mean, that's our first call, is to be in love. And to be in love is to not yelling our virtue.
It's really hard when you're being antagonized by someone who is yelling their virtue. So.
It is, but I mean, that's when we can show the greatest love. That's when it's the hardest, right?
Yep, exactly.
I just had the conversation with this guy because I made fun of one of Jill Biden's outfits. I said, boy, her stylist doesn't like her. And he said, because I say that I'm a Christian in my bio, and he goes, that's not very Christian-like. I go, you're right. It's not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
At least you can be honest.
Yeah, I go, you're right.
At least you can be honest and have humility about it and accept when you're wrong.
I said, I did. I said, I.
But would Jesus like that outfit?
But I did respond to him, and I said, I didn't really think I would offend Jill Biden, so I felt safe in it because I didn't think she was on my feed. But you're right. Like, it was mean-spirited.
It's a human at the end of the day.
It is. And even if she doesn't, I mean, we don't know. But I'm just joking. But I did, it was mean.
Yeah.
But bringing it to the core, we are supposed to love people. I mean, what would Jesus do?
He would not go make fun of her outfit.
As Christians, we are supposed to love others. We're supposed to serve others. And when you bring all this politics, this
mean
social environment, you could bring climate change into this if you really want to get crazy. What's our purpose here? Are we supposed to point fingers and fight and argue about the little things?
No, we're supposed to love each other.
In the big picture, they are the little things.
No, we're supposed to love each other. Love ourselves, love each other, love Jesus, love God. Hey, we have a dog here.
You got a little ish going on.
Yes. We have a disruptive dog.
To all of us.
Love the disruptive Yorkie.
She's our mascot. She's sick.
So yes, I mean, I think that's what it all felt. Even when God was dealing with me through this, that's what it all was about. I've got to learn to love.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my journey, maybe even over the last 7 years, as me learning what actual love looks like. And I'm still on that journey.
I don't think you're ever going to end.
No.
I hope
love is a big word.
I hope you're never done changing.
No, not changing, but even just this word love, it's a big word.
It is.
It's really a big word.
And a lot of people, I don't think, get the opportunity to go on the path that you've been on. Whether they haven't prayed about
God,
it. Praise God
that if you haven't.
Praise God if you have, though. Hey.
Yes.
Amen.
No, I am.
There's another side.
Yes.
Yep.
Other flip of the
Amen.
coin.
Amen. Amen. So I guess being aware of what's happening is good. Being aware of yourself within that and what's happening, and being aware of what your true purpose in life is. And God puts passions on our hearts to do different things and to bring his love to the world. And I think that's what we need to focus on.
And it's like, I like making decisions with music, and like I'm still feeling called and desired to do that. Like, I don't think he would just have me still like going that way if it was like about to end tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he would if it was, even if it was going to end tomorrow. But this is where I think maybe we differ, and this could be age.
yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, if God takes me, I'm not going to go be a martyr.
Same.
I will if he asks me to, if he calls me to do it. I'm okay with it. I know that what is awaiting me is more than anything this life could bring.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do, as you point out, it's pretty selfish of me to not want to bring more people with. But of course, I want as many people to go to heaven as possible. That is, of course,
Bringing God best friends.
Yes, but am I doing that work? Not so much. I don't know that I'm out there evangelizing. I'm definitely, I speak up when I can, but am I doing what I should be? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that if I do die, I'm not worried about that. I have no fear in that. I have a bigger fear, like I said, you with your children, my grandchildren, and
There's
the kind of world that they grow up
aspirations. Like, I want to like succeed in music and do these things. And
Yes.
like, but it also is like, there's fear in losing that because I idolize it sometimes. You know what I mean? So it is like a balance.
It's a worldly thing,
Yeah.
right? I don't think it's wrong to want success. I don't think it's wrong to
Want a family.
Want a
I had
family.
a
Yeah, right.
revelation about this last year, and I struggled with the fact because I bought into end of the world is coming. What if it comes before I have my family and meet my husband and live out my dreams? I think everyone has these thoughts, and he dealt with me for a little bit. Like, I'm at a point now where I have so much peace. It could be tomorrow, and it's like, heaven's going to be a party. Are you kidding me? Like, who wouldn't want to go?
Oh, yeah.
I'm ecstatic, but I think there's a balance where, I could make a suicidal joke. It's not like I'm ready to just die because I'm so excited. There is a life here, and we have work here to do as Christians. And I have to remind myself every day, what our purpose is, what we are called to do in our time here, because it's limited.
Yeah.
And I have dreams. I want to have that family, and, career-wise, I have aspirations, and I have a bucket list like everyone. But if he does come tomorrow or next year, I'm at peace with that. Like,
it's obviously going to be greater.
let his will be done.
Like, we have limited minds, and we can only understand like how much greater it's going to be, and be like, why did I even care? Like, you know what I mean?
I think that's the beauty of this is the beauty of having God in your life and understanding if you've experienced God, it's better because you've had experiences of him. Like, when I walk with God and I'm obedient and we're in a good place, it's good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Everything's good. There is no fear because I'm walking with him.
Yeah.
I think the fear comes in when I'm not walking with him. And I also believe that knowing where I'm going, knowing what the end looks like, you said, and knowing who wins, because this is a war between good and evil. This isn't a war between me and somebody who doesn't agree with me politically.
Yeah.
This is good and evil. And that doesn't mean they're evil. That means evil is whispering to all of us.
Yeah. It's not the person.
Yes, it's not. This is a spiritual war. And I get
It's
that.
the influence. Yeah.
all through the Bible, there is war. I mean, God is not against battle.
Yes.
He does win. There is a clear
Yes.
winner and loser.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that, and I can rest in that, makes the rest not such a big deal.
Yeah.
Though it is still horrific to see the images that we get to see sometimes of war or of people getting hurt or people on a subway getting stabbed. So don't go on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, just don't go. I promise you.
Get off social media, man.
It's it's horrible.
I guess to
Unless
that,
we're on social media, then you could come on social media.
as long as you like and subscribe.
Social media is so crazy. I mean, we get to like learn stuff at such a crazy rate and be a part of stuff so much. It's insane.
It is.
We're self-taught.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's like, what is it? What's it? Substantiated. What is it? Like filled in for. what's the word?
Substantial?
No, like sub.
Oh my gosh. I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, like we've used like people I feel like have gotten dumber because we've used.
We rely on social media.
We rely on social media. We rely
to fill
on
in the blank,
our
too.
phone. We rely on the technology. Right?
So when I was a kid,
gotten lazy.
we weren't allowed.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to use calculators because that would make us stupid and lazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true because you kids
Well,
are
we're not in that era.
You kids are far smarter than me.
Well,
debatable.
have you seen, like what, I mean, there's like poems and stuff we can't even decipher from the 1800s, like in 1700s that were just like
Is it a different
English.
language though?
No, I mean like Old English, like the way that they wrote, the words that they use that are words that are in our dictionary. Like,
Because look how much
I mean,
we've
the
evolved
thing-
since
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Even some translations of the Bible we don't understand.
I have a hard
Now
time with
everybody's
King
Thou
saying-
James.
shall. What does that mean?
Yeah, right?
Who's ye?
I mean, like sit down and read the whole King
That's me.
James from like the first King James print. It's like, what?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you saying? You know what I mean? I think that I think it's interesting personally.
That is interesting. That is interesting because I think you guys, your generation seems really smart and you've had a lot of tools. So it makes me think you're piggybacking off the tools because the brain is meant to create and
Well, just
learn
because
and
you've seen me,
connect.
it doesn't mean you haven't seen like that one person.
Well, she's smart too.
You know?
I have my days.
No, it's not that.
No,
but
I'm
like
jo-
that
I'm
one
joking.
person that has like a lot of access, like my
Right.
age, that is
Yeah.
not using it appropriately. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Anything can be used for good or evil,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Any tool.
Yeah.
Any tool.
But as I feel like we devolve,
Well, and going off that, any tool can be used for good or evil. It's like I think we have a responsibility with social media and all the information we're being fed, including the media, including the news. We need to be responsible in how much we actually consume and
Yes.
what we do with that.
And what we do with it.
There's a lot of
And this
authority
is-
in that.
Yes. Because I feel this is what I've done wrong in the past. I've shared things before they were vetted. I shared things too soon before I had formed a real opinion on them. We had talked about doing an Israel Hamas podcast.
Yeah.
I just couldn't make myself do it for some reason. And I think it's because I didn't feel like I had the full picture. And I think that we never will.
Well, and
We
I don't
can't.
think any one person will.
No.
I mean, as many people do podcasts on
I don't even think it's
specific
fair
topics.
to have an opinion when I can't.
Yeah.
We can have podcasts about our lives and how it affects us. It's a little harder to sit back here and go, okay, these are the bad guys, these are the good guys.
yeah.
It's too hard. It's not fair.
But I think the same could be said about any topic or any subject. It's like,
Yes.
we are never going to have the full or the entire
No,
perspective.
no. I just felt I had done the damage enough in this podcast of consuming too much negative doom
We
porn.
saved you a lot of stress.
Yeah.
What do you personally do to stop this cycle? Like when you get in it?
I put my phone down and I just
Turn it off.
Like
Yes.
delete apps, like get off it. In any participate in real life. Like, what do I have for work today? What do I go to the gym? Go to the, make music. Like, what am I moving forward on in my real life that is actually happening? That
Real
I can-
life.
Yeah. What is tangible right in front of me? What is
Yeah.
today? Focus on today. Today's the day of salvation.
Stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it can be as little as meal prepping or like what can I
Yeah.
physically do? Like what are actions I can do?
Yeah.
And again, as I said earlier, it's like just get back to God. Like just spend like just talk to him.
Yeah.
Like he'll guide your way.
Well, it's kind of like,
And it's a good distraction from
yeah.
all the craziness that's out there.
It's kind of like putting your head in the sand a little
Yeah.
bit.
Kind of, not really.
But-
So this is
but-
the difference. There's a difference to me between
Not-
putting your
yeah.
head in the sand and walking with God.
Yeah.
So you said this the other day, and it really bugged me about putting your head in the sand being the better route.
I guess it's coming out now.
Well, I don't think you were wrong on some level now after a couple days of thinking about it.
God will put it in front of you.
Yes, I went to.
Do I have to white knuckle the information?
I went to counseling probably when you were 5. There was some news going on at the time. A lot of stuff in the world was happening that I thought was a big deal. Today, I can't even tell you what it was because I was thinking, what was going on that I was so worried about? And so I went to counseling.
It wasn't COVID.
It's crazy because I can't even
In perspective, yeah.
I
it's
can't
like-
even tell you what it was about that I was so worried about it. So I went to a counseling session or two with this lady, and she said, just turn the TV off. if you need to know something, somebody will let you know.
Yep.
And I lived that way until COVID.
I love that.
I did.
Love that.
If you need to know
God brings
something,
it to you.
people will let you know. And
or someone calls you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Just
God uses somebody to call
God
you.
can call you.
Yeah.
It did save me a lot of anxiety and frustration and concern.
Like there's people that do like, and they look like they have fulfilling lives because they don't even have to deal with the thought of living in fear. They don't have to deal with like, oh, the world's going to end tomorrow. Like, because when we see it, like, oh, it could happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's coming up, but like.
I mean, but I think
Pay
that's the
attention
point
to
is we
it.
just don't care that it does happen. We have to live like it isn't.
I'm also, so like the time and the seasons part of like the Bible, I kind of like, I think people use that inappropriately. Like you'll know the time
As
and the
a
seasons.
misinterpretation?
I don't know.
Or
Like,
exaggeration?
yeah, a little bit. Kind of like, it is like, because like we don't know the day or the hour, right?
We don't know the day or the hour, but we know
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah, but I don't think it was like meant to like be a focus though. You know what I mean?
I think it was. So we could be prepared because God loves us that much.
But he,
Not prepared like go around acting like a bunch of nut jobs. Be prepared like you amp up your love, you amp up your discipleship, you amp up. We should have been doing
And
it the
bring
whole
as
time.
many people
It's like-
home.
Yeah, we should have been
before
doing
then.
it before.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a motivation, but like, you know, like they said the day is soon, like how long ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the apostles thought the day was, they thought they would see
Yeah,
the end.
exactly. So it's like,
We're humans. We react to urgency. And
Yeah.
most of us
yeah.
procrastinate.
If you like, I don't know, like live like that instead of trying to discern when the time and the seasons are and spending your time trying to like figure out when the end of the world is, you know what I mean? I think people like get so caught up with that.
I do too, because I get I think my trick to not getting upset about it is not caring.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting. That did happen. Instead of not, I mean, that doesn't bother me as much as the political stuff.
Do you think you wouldn't care if you paid attention, if you didn't pay attention to what's going on in the world?
That's kind of where I'm at.
No, actually, the stuff going on in the world scares me more because if the world is not ending, okay, let's say if we've got 100 more years. If the world's not ending, what kind of world do I want to leave my kids and grandkids?
Yeah.
That concerns me more.
That concerns me more too.
Yeah. I don't want to.
But the concern, like, is it like watching it? Like, am I acting?
So
am I doing better? Am I actually following the will of God, watching it and trying to see the events, or you know?
Well, as you
figure it
pointed out to me, what are you doing about it, Mom?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not doing anything about it. I fund political people who I think are the good guys, and sometimes I'm wrong.
I
That's
think
about as much as I do.
I think we all have the same purpose as Christians, and I think in this waiting game, maybe it doesn't matter when it's going to be, as long as we're ready. It's like doing your homework early.
Yes.
It's like being prepared for the test,
Well, we're all
2
saved,
weeks
so
early.
it's over.
and that's great. But I think a lot of people, going on another tangent, take advantage of that, saying, "I'm going to wait till the last minute."
Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? I think I just recently heard
I'm
somebody
gonna say that
it.
salvation
get
prayer
that.
at the very last, on my
Yeah.
deathbed, and it's like,
But that's
well,
salvation prayer, not eschatology, right?
Have you
That's
talked?
soteriology. Yeah.
correct.
Have you talked to somebody that has said this?
I haven't met anyone who's actually said it, but I know there are people who live their lives.
This actually
like
came
that.
up for us yesterday in a conversation we were having with somebody.
I take it back. I've had friends who have had parents or grandparents in the hospital, and they, say that prayer, the last breath, and that glory to God, that's great. But did they intentionally wait until the last minute? You have to wonder.
Yes.
Made it past
You
the
didn't
finish
live
line,
your
but
life.
you
Yeah.
might not be able to have this much
Congratulations.
responsibility
You
in
might
front
not
of
be in a mansion in heaven, though.
Yeah, you might not have
Well,
the
I
responsibility.
think that's the beautiful love
Mm-hmm.
of God, though, that He gives us up to the last minute, just like the guy at
That's
Calvary.
grace.
He
Yep.
gave that guy that last minute. My father just died, and he wasn't saved, but I have to believe, even in his last moments, God gave him another chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to believe
Like
that.
you did with the guy on the cross.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's just the beauty and the beautiful love of it. But we were talking to a gentleman yesterday. He was mad about it that people got it, and he was not a Christian, but he didn't like that people. So which
Got a
leads
free
me to believe
pass to sin. in all
you're
their
mad
lives.
that they get a free pass, but you don't believe. It was confusing.
Sounds like it.
But
No, it's an
It sounds
opportunity.
like somebody who's just might be frustrated with God, but does believe.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting thought to be irritated by God's love and mercy.
It's ironic. It's like grace is so good. I hate that.
It's because we can't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, because we
So
all
above
think
us.
we're the only ones that deserve it. And that guy doesn't.
Which is also ironic.
Well, I mean, he
the
did have a
ego.
good point. He was talking about pedophiles. That was a tough subject, right? That's a tough person to like. You see someone who is completely brutalized and destroyed the natural life of a child, and you have to wonder, even he could get saved.
Yeah.
And that was irritating to him. So I guess I should have let the whole context come out to see his irritation.
I don't think he's the only one. I think people don't see that it's fair for a lot of people. You know, it's like my circumstance. I only lied. This guy murdered.
That's why.
That's not fair.
Yes.
But a lot
like,
of people
well-
don't see like the courtroom, like analogy to heaven. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The legal system is a
Yeah.
whole different podcast.
Yeah.
A beautiful legal system. At
I love to
best.
talk about it. I'm waiting for the salvation episode.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got verses.
You're getting me excited.
I got intellectual
Yeah.
bullets for days.
I'm ready for it.
All right.
And on the next episode,
I just thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts on doom porn and how it has affected you and how you deal with it so it doesn't destroy your life.
are you a doom porn addict?
Not anymore. I'm recovered.
Recovered.
I'm recovered.
Glory to God.
We're in recovery. Just okay.
Hopefully we helped somebody out there not feel so alone, or maybe you could share your experiences or things that you do to keep you from traveling down that lane of destruction in your mind and body.
It's not a good place to be.
It isn't.
Get out of there.
So anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. It helps us and we appreciate it. We appreciate your support. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you.